This is the only thing I do though. Like this is my life. This is my profession. Like this is my everyday job. I get to work from home at Next Level University. Like that's my thing.
What is the one use of your time that has the biggest positive impact on this world? And if you can answer that question and start doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on that, then you can have all of your dreams come true, just like Kevin and I have.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode. It was last week's live podcast, episode number 764, Letting Go of What's No Longer Serving You. Today, episode number 765, you've got to go all in on one thing. Oh, yeah. First of all, happy Wednesday. If you're listening to this on Wednesday, if you're listening to this on another day of the week, happy whatever day of the week it happens to be. So one of my favorite things to do when I meet somebody new is when we get into conversation about what we each do for work, or we do for a living, or we do for passion. I love saying, like, I'm a podcaster. And I was telling Alan, there's usually one of two ways it goes. Usually people are like super excited, which is awesome. I love that because I think it's rare. I don't think you meet a lot of people who say, like, my profession is a podcaster. So when I start to talk about what I do, I think as I start to talk about the amount of episodes and the clients and the speaking and the business and the team that we have, people really start to think like, how did all that happen? And I always tell people, because I think it's important to say this. And Alan, you've heard me say this to people numerous times. This is the only thing I do though. Like this is my life. This is my profession. Like this is my everyday job. I get to work from home at Next Level University. Like that's my thing. And the reason is what we're going to talk about today. 3.5, 4 years ago, again, I don't know, whenever it was, 2017.
I looked at LinkedIn, May 2017, or no, not LinkedIn, Facebook. I forget where, but.
So 4.5 years ago.
Yeah, 4.5 years ago.
My goodness. So 4.5 years ago, the reason we are today where we are is because Alan and I both went all in. There was no part-time job while doing this. Now, again, everybody has different goals and circumstances. So maybe, quitting and going all in isn't your thing. But like, in a way, you have to start eliminating things that aren't in direct alignment with those goals. And when people say, like, how do you have 760 something episodes, like you do an episode every day, how does that work? This is my thing. Like, the way it works is Alan and I have been doing this full time now for 4.5 years. So we've just worked out a lot of the kinks that we never would have worked out if we only did it half time or part time or a quarter of the time. So the importance of going all in on your thing and really, really being as committed as humanly possible. It's not that and we're going to talk about this I don't know. Oh, next week. It's not just the successes you're going to have. You're going to fail faster, which is going to teach you what not to do, and you're going to have more lessons. The longer you spend doing something, the more opportunity for growth, and that's why we are where we are. We've just been doing it more consistently longer than most other people.
It's so important, and I think that we live in a really noisy world. You've heard me talk about this a lot. I was talking to one of my clients recently, and he was listening to a different podcast, and he's like, I have trouble listening to other shows after listening to Next Level University because there's a lot more ads and people don't care about their listeners as much, and it's just not as good of a show. And it's interesting because I would be willing to bet that those people have a lot more going on. And this is what I told him. I said, the thing about our show that's so interesting is that it's the main thing. Like, we're not authors who started a podcast. We're not speakers who started a podcast. We're not business consultants that started a podcast. No, we're a podcast first. And so for 4.5 years, not only is this our only job, profession, career, mission, purpose, but it's the main one. So we have other subsidiaries around that. So I'm a business consultant, I'm a coach, I'm a speaker, I lead the team and different things like that. And you as well, you're a podcast coach, speaker. But like, the podcast has been the primary focus for 4.5 years. And most podcasters were not podcasters first. And if they were, usually they have a bunch of other things that require their attention more than the podcast. And Brendan Burchard has an amazing quote. The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. And even if you look at someone's career like Brendan Burchard, he's written many, many books. He's a speaker. His one thing is not his podcast. He has a podcast called The Brendan Burchard Show, or The Brendan Show, I think. But that's not his main focus. He doesn't wake up in the morning going, oh my God, I got to make sure the podcast has more momentum than anything else in my life. And I was on another podcast recently. It was the Struggle to Strength podcast. And they were asking me how we did it. How do we do this? And it's interesting because when I go on other shows, and I know you're starting to realize this as well, all we really end up doing is talking about what we're actually doing regularly. I mean, they ask me business questions. I just got to tell them, this is what we do with the team. This is what we're doing in our business. Like, this is what we're doing on the team dashboard, and this is PPT, all that stuff. It's mostly just talking about what we're actually implementing right now. Whereas in the beginning, we didn't have all that, so we couldn't talk about it. We kind of had to philosophize a little bit more, and it was a little bit less down to earth and tangible because we weren't at a level where we could just talk about our lives, and that talking about what we're really doing is the value. But on this podcast, they were asking me a bunch of stuff, and I basically said to them that there's 2.6 million podcasts, and the large majority of them don't make it past 21 episodes. And for us, the reason why, because they were so impressed with my ability to articulate things, I said the only reason why I'm good at this is because this was Kevin and I's main thing from the get. If any of your listeners think I'm good at this, it's because I have thousands of hours doing this. Between coaching, podcasting, and speaking, thousands of hours. I would have to be terrible to not be good at this point. And I was on a phone call recently, and I'll end on this. I was on the phone with a man named Brian, and he was asking me to get involved in a collaboration, an opportunity. And I said, Brian, I'm going to stop you right there. And I mean this with love. He loves the compound effect. So do I. We had a great conversation. We connected really well. He's big into personal development. So nothing against him. But I said, listen, with love, I podcast, I speak, I coach, and I consult. If whatever it is that you're about to talk to me about doesn't fall into one of those buckets, the answer is no, that's not aligned for me. And he was like, oh, whoa. Like, he was very taken back by that. And the reason why is because I'm 32 years old. I've eliminated the things that are not my genius zone. I've started to understand where the greatest level of potential and contribution is. Kevin's truth is that Kevin can add more value on this microphone right now to more people in the world than anything else that he does. And so, of course, we have to keep that the main thing. Now, the question for our listeners is, what is that for you? What is the one use of your time that has the biggest positive impact on this world? And if you can answer that question and start doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on that, then you can have all of your dreams come true, just like Kevin and I have.
And it's one of those weird things that it's almost like the sooner, and we're going to do an episode on Friday on why clarity is a superpower, and we're going to dive deeper into all of this. But the second you figure out what your thing is the second you can start to build it quicker. Because when you go all in on it, it's almost like you're worried about building a building. Like, you want to build a skyscraper. Now, yes, there's other buildings in the village that you could build, but a lot of times those buildings aren't related at all to the skyscraper. It's just like different buildings. Like, you have a skyscraper and then you have something else, like just unrelated, like a hotel. When you don't need a hotel because you have a hotel in the skyscraper, but you do need a grocery store and you need these other things. When you get clear on what you want, when you understand that this is my one thing and I'm going to go all in on it, the buildings become more relevant because everything you do is in alignment with what you actually want.
Right.
And it's just one of those things too, where you get very clear very quickly on what are your necessities. What are your necessities? There's a reason that a lot of people miss podcast episodes because it's not a non-negotiable for them. For us, this is a non-negotiable. We have to do 7 episodes, like whatever it takes. We'll find a guest. We'll just do whatever we have to do.
No matter what.
Where other people, maybe that's writing their book. Or maybe for you, it's doing a post on social media or going to the gym or training a client, whatever it may be. So that's the other thing too, is the the one thing creates the guardrails in your life of I'm just not allowed to miss these things if I want to maximize my potential in this thing. And I do think that you use the words maximize your potential a lot. And I think it's maximize your potential in what you value and what you want to maximize realistically.
Well, I think that all of us have a certain genius zone inherently that if we focus on that. So Emilia and I were talking about this recently. She said, one of the reasons why you're so well-rounded is because you're afraid of your own greatness.
Hey everybody, this is Matt Kramer coming at you from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Kevin, Alan, and the rest of the NLU team. I have come across them in the last year and honestly can say of all the places and people that I get information from for self-improvement, for operating at peak performance, these guys know how to bring it, and their team knows how to bring it too. All the content they put out, whether it's a podcast, a book club, a quick hit video, their coaching, any of it is just next level, honestly. No pun intended, it is next level. They drop a lot of knowledge bombs no matter what you're doing, and being part of the group coaching has allowed me to really harness the knowledge that they bring to the table. These guys definitely walk the walk and don't just talk the talk, which is the best thing about these guys. You really feel like you get that personalized experience, and they know how to bring it.
And what she meant by that is that everyone has a nucleus, and this is how she explained it. She drew it on the whiteboard for me. And she basically said that you've spent so much time outside of your nucleus because I think deep down you're afraid that if you go all in on your nucleus, you're going to be, you're going to outgrow all of your peers. And I think we all have a nucleus. I think we all have, like Evan Carmichael says, Michael Jordan level talent at something, but it's almost like you either don't know it's a thing because you've always had it, or you do know deep down that you're exceptional in it, but if you really leaned into it, it would ostracize you from being relatable to most people. And I think this is why really famous people date other famous people, is because they kind of get it. You know, Tom Brady's an example where once he became, more famous and more well known, he ended up dating Giselle, and he ended up breaking up with his, first girlfriend / wife, his first wife. And I see that constantly. I've studied, lots of different careers, lots of different couples, lots of different industries, because I've always been so curious to understand this. It's like, I used to ask as a kid, like, why is it that like Jennifer Aniston, like you never see a famous actor or actress with like a regular, quote unquote, regular person? And it's not never, but it's very rare. And I now understand why. It's because consciousness. It's because if you're famous, you want someone who can relate to what that's like. And I think fame can probably be, it's not what people think. I mean, you and I aren't even remotely famous, but like we have more influence than we've ever had, and it's not what we thought. And so, but my point is this: everyone out there has a nucleus, and you just might not know what it is. I was on book club on Saturday, and we're reading a book called The Art of Impossible. And in that book, he talks about your core strengths. You have to figure out what your core strengths are. And I did this exercise in book club. He literally has you write down your 5 greatest accomplishments. I had it written in my notebook. My 5 greatest accomplishments: one was winning the fitness show. One was graduating with electrical and computer engineering degree from WPI. One was getting the President's Award in high school, which is straight A's or whatever, all through high school. One was NLU, all things NLU, like the business, the podcast, the community, all that. And then what was my other one? I forget what the other one was. It might have been, it was my MBA, my master's in business. And then he has you dissect it. So for the listeners, look back at all the achievements. What are your 5 greatest achievements? Okay. Figure out, learn from the past, invest it in your future. What are the skills that were required of you to achieve those things? And I actually have it written. I want to do this for the listeners because this is so critical. You don't realize these are superpowers. I'm telling you, I didn't realize how important these skills were for every single one of those things until I was in book club, and I was like, holy crap. And so I will find it just a moment.
Elevator music.
Okay, so President's Award, ECE, Electrical and Computer Engineering, MBA, NLU, first place men's physique. These are the 5 things I identified. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5 things I identified as necessary skills, core strengths to achieve all 5 of those. Long-term thinking. Long-term strategic thinking was necessary for all of those. Intelligence, the ability to understand things at a deep level and make good decisions. Grit. I mean, dude, I failed my first ECE course. My first engineering course, I failed. Almost everyone would have quit at that point. I literally wasted like $4,500 on a course. Like, I remember being so crushed by that. And then I just found the smartest people I could and surrounded myself with them to try to succeed. Collaborative teamwork is the next one. Surround yourself with the right people. And then leadership, which is lead and influence towards a brighter future. Even in my first place in men's physique, I had you, I had Matt, I had Nate, I had Justin. It's like through Matt and you. And it's like, oh, I've been doing that my whole life. And all 4 of those, all 5 of those, long-term strategic thinking, intelligence, grit, collaborative teamwork, and leadership, dude, I'm still doing those. And those are my superpowers. Those are, and what I want for the listeners to understand is like, not only should you go all in on one main thing, but you also have this one nucleus that will help you maximize your potential and help others do the same. Because you can spend the rest of your life, and I wanted to do this, I know we got to go, but like Meryl Streep, Eminem, Michael Phelps, Taylor Swift, and I don't know, Serena Williams, everyone knows their name. They all had one train that never stopped. And we all know what they are. For Eminem, it was rapping. That was the one train that never stopped. Still doing it today. Mm-hmm. Meryl Streep, acting. She's got 13 Academy Awards. She's an actress. Okay, Taylor Swift, singing and songwriting. Serena Williams was tennis. And then I forget who the other person, Michael Phelps, swimming. See, you can do a lot of things and you can have a lot of things in your life, but there's got to be one train that never stops. For Kevin and I, we decided Next Level University was going to be the train, the one common denominator, the one thing that never stops rolling, that never loses momentum. And because of that, we're going to have so many of our wonderful dreams come true, and we're going to have such a positive impact. And that's what we want for our listeners as well.
And the last thing I'll say is I had this conversation with somebody the other day. You said it. I think there's 2.7 million podcasts, 2.69 or something like that. That's every day. There's thousands and thousands of podcasts, like maybe not thousands. There's a lot though. And if you think about it, how many people start a show just to start a show? That's the reason that people don't succeed, because their goal, their one thing is not to have the most successful podcast that they're humanly capable of. It's probably something else. And maybe they're just giving it a go. They just want to see like, what this podcast thing is all about. So it's understandable. Think to yourself, what do you really, really want? Because the thing that all of those people, Eminem, Serena Williams, Meryl Streep, Michael Phelps, everybody that you mentioned, what do they have in common? They started and they never stopped. And most of them started really early. Most of them started early. Now, again, we didn't start until we were 26 or 25, 26, whatever. So it's never too late to start, but the earlier you start, the more opportunity you have for long-term growth. For sure. And again, if this episode resonated, make sure you tune in on Friday or 767, because we're going to be talking about why clarity is a superpower. Understanding what you want. I'm realizing it's just unreasonably valuable, and a lot of people don't have that level of clarity. So I'm grateful that we do. And the sooner you can get that, the sooner you can turn that into a superpower, the sooner you can go all in on your one thing.
And if you want more clarity, reach out to Kevin or myself. This is definitely something we've come to learn as we've explored this industry. We've gone to events, we've met tons of people, mentors, mentees, clients, customers, team members, you name it. One thing, Kevin and I, we suck at a lot of stuff, but I'll tell you what, when it comes to clarity of who we are and where we're headed and how we're getting there, we have more than almost anyone I know. And we were lost at one point in our lives. I mean, 6, 7, 8 years ago, when I got in that car accident at 26, I was absolutely lost. That's why I was in so much pain and regret after that car accident, because I got the second chance that my dad didn't. So if you feel lost, admit it. It's okay. That's okay. Most people are. They're pretending not to be. Trust me. And it's not till you are less lost that you realize most other people are lost, just like I used to be. So reach out to Kevin and myself. We have frameworks. We have formulas. We have things. I have this one thing called the Pyramid of Fulfillment. It's going to help you get found. I shared it with someone from South Africa 3 weeks ago, We had one call. We haven't even spoken since. I shared it with him. It's his. Like, do what you want with it. So please reach out to Kevin or myself, Alan at nextleveluniverse.com, Kevin at nextleveluniverse.com. Click the link in the show notes, or check the show notes. You can DM us on Instagram. Just please reach out. If you want more clarity, clarity is going to change your life. It's going to change your life. And it's something that Kevin and I are very fortunate at this point to have a very high degree of. Even years ago at Brendan Burchard's event, he did a clarity test questionnaire before the event. And he said the average was, I think, 3.2. And you and I were like up in the 4s. So we've had clarity for a long time. And I know we're benefiting from that, not only in the long term, but day to day.
And if you want your one thing to be podcasting like ours is, please reach out. I'll say this. One of the benefits of podcasting being Alan and I's one thing is we had to learn as much as humanly possible. We both left 6-figure jobs to do this, so we had to find a way to make money. So if you're a podcaster who wants to grow your show, scale it, make money. That's why most people start shows. Like, yes, impact is awesome, but if you are impacting and you're not profitable, you can only impact for so long. If you want help, please reach out. That is my jam. I have leaned into that, and that is one of my things I am all in on. So we'd love to help. Also, group coaching round 5 is when?
November? January 4th. January 4th. January 4th. Start 2022 off on the right foot with a team of like-minded people, all trying to get to the next level. 90 days, 3 months, 10 people, peak performance tracking, a WhatsApp group, like-minded people, growth-oriented. If you're not growth-oriented, do not join, do not apply. If you are growth-oriented and you want to achieve your goals and you want to get to the next level, you are perfect fit. Go to nextleveluniverse.com, click group coaching. You will see a very funny video of Kevin and I when we were at the middle of bulk season for sure. Next Level Donut Solutions. No, I'm kidding. But seriously, apply. Bianca's in already. So we've already got one, and we hope to see those rolling in soon. Get in soon. We are only taking 10, genuinely. And we're not opening another group until 3 months after that. Yeah. We're only doing one group at a time because we tried multiples at a time, and it was very challenging to handle all that for Kevin and I.
Yeah, that was to say the least. It was very challenging.
Yeah.
Also, we'll put that link in the show notes as well. That way you can just click it and it will take you to the landing page on the website. Next tomorrow for episode number 766. It's wild. 766.
766.
I'm looking, 1,000. I'm very excited to say that number in the very near future. It's last week's live Q&A. How do you tell other people that you've changed? A lot of us do this work behind the scenes that people don't see. And maybe we see these people once in a while. Maybe we don't see these people very often. How do you have the conversation of, look, I've changed my core values, my core beliefs, and my core aspirations. And it's a difficult conversation for sure, but it's one that needs to happen. So if that is a conversation you are waiting to have, make sure you tune into tomorrow's episode. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. We are grateful for each and every one of you. And we do not have fans. We have family. Talk to you tomorrow.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.